It didn't take long, not even a full news cycle. The league saw the hit, the fans saw the replays, and now it feels like karma wasted no time tracking down Marina Mabrey. Because just days after the outrage over that hard foul on Caitlin Clark, after the headlines, after the statements, after the silence, Marina Mabrey walked straight into Paige Buecher's. And what happened next wasn't just payback, it was a full-circle moment, a reminder that the energy you bring to the court always finds its way back. This time, it came in the form of a calm, surgical, locked-in Paige Buecher's, one of the most poised, feared, and efficient players to ever come out of the college game, and she made her presence felt immediately. Buecher's didn't talk trash, didn't push, didn't throw a shoulder, she just played her game, and that was enough. Every possession became a statement, every bucket a clapback, and by the second quarter, it was clear this wasn't going to be Marina's night. Because the one thing about karma is it doesn't always look like punishment. Sometimes it looks like someone else shining while you fade into the background. And right now, Marina Mabrey's getting a front-row seat to exactly that. This matchup was personal before the opening tip, not because of past beef, but because of what Mabrey's become a symbol of in this league. The face of resistance to Caitlin Clark's rise, the poster for a physical, old-school brand of basketball that's clashing with the new wave of skill, speed, and stardom. But Paige represents that new wave in full, and tonight, she didn't come to prove a point for the cameras. She came to win, and she did it while exposing the gap. Because the difference was clear: control, vision, maturity. While Marina tried to make it physical, Paige made it surgical. While Marina tried to disrupt, Paige created flow. And the scoreboard told the rest of the story. It wasn't just a loss for Marina, it was a mirror. A moment where the league, the media, the fans all saw what happens when noise meets focus, when physicality meets finesse, and when karma decides it's time to balance the scale. And let's not forget the subtext here, because Caitlin Clark didn't even have to be on the court for this one to matter. This was for every shove, every eye roll, every side comment, every hit. This was about respect for the game, for the players coming in, and for the fans who've been begging for the WNBA to grow without dragging rookies through the mud just for daring to have hype. What Paige Buecher's did tonight wasn't just about basketball, it was about accountability. Because when you carry yourself like the league owes you something, and then someone steps on the court and takes what you thought was yours, that's not just a loss, that's a message. And Marina Mabrey just got the message loud and clear. So what's next? We'll see how the league responds, we'll see how Marina responds, but more importantly, we'll see if this sparks a real shift. Because if Paige and Caitlin are the future, and Marina is the resistance, the fans have already chosen a side. They want the game faster, smarter, cleaner, and most of all, bigger. And you don't get bigger by holding down your stars, you get bigger by letting them rise. Tonight, Paige Buecher's rose. And Marina Mabrey? Well, she felt the weight of her own narrative. That's instant karma, WNBA style. And you better believe, this story's just getting started. If part 1 was the moment Marina Mabrey got caught in the crossfire, part 2 is where we unpack what it really means. Because this wasn't just a highlight reel loss. This was a cultural reset. The kind of performance that grabs the league by the collar and says, wake up, the energy is shifting, and some of these veterans need to start adjusting before they get left behind. And let's be real, Marina Mabrey isn't just any player. She's vocal, she's aggressive, and over the last few weeks, she's become one of the loudest responses to Caitlin Clark's rise, not necessarily with words, but with actions. That shove, the foul, the cold post-game demeanor, it all sent a message, one that fans didn't take lightly. But now, that same intensity came face-to-face with a different kind of player, a different kind of killer. Paige Buecher's didn't retaliate physically. She retaliated with execution, with precision, with the kind of calm confidence that makes everything else on the floor look noisy. And that's what Marina ran into. Not just a player, but a standard. Because Buecher's didn't come to the W to play ego games. She came to dominate. And when she does it without the theatrics, it makes the drama around her look even smaller. It was almost poetic. Marina trying to rattle, Paige staying steady, Marina forcing the pace, Paige reading every move like she already knew what was coming. It's hard to watch something like that and not call it karma. Because this wasn't random. This was the universe reminding everyone that talent talks louder than cheap fouls and shoulder checks. And the fans noticed. Social media lit up, highlight edits flooded TikTok and X, and just like that, the narrative flipped again. What was once a controversy is now a conversation about who's really ready for this league's new era. The Paige Bueckers era, the Caitlin Clark era, the can't look away era. And right now, Marina Mabrey is getting caught in the middle of a storm she helped start, but can't seem to control. There's another layer here though, one that hits even harder, because every time something like this happens, the pressure shifts, and suddenly it's not just about who won the game. It's about the league. It's about the optics. Because how long can the WNBA let this vibe linger? The vibe that if you're a rookie, if you're hyped, if you bring in ratings, you're a target? That's not the message this league wants. That's not how you grow a sport. That's how you suffocate it. And that's why Paige's statement tonight felt so necessary. It wasn't just a win for her. It was a reset for the entire tone of the season. Because whether they want to admit it or not, some of these vets are gatekeeping, not competing. And what Paige Bueckers just did was tear that gate down, calmly, methodically, and without ever needing to stoop to the level of the noise. Now, Marina Mabrey has a choice: adapt or fall further behind. Because players like Paige aren't slowing down. Caitlin isn't slowing down. The fans, definitely not slowing down. And the only thing standing between the WNBA and an explosion of new growth is how ready it is to embrace this shift. Because it's here, you can't ignore it. You can't push it aside with cheap shots or tired attitudes. You either rise with it, or you get left behind in it. And tonight, Marina Mabrey got a front row seat to what the future looks like when it stops asking for permission. Let's not sugarcoat it anymore. What's happening in the WNBA right now is bigger than just one game, or one player, or even one rivalry. This is a takeover, and for the players who've made a career out of toughness, who've built their brand on physicality and grit, the reality is starting to hit hard. The rules have changed. The expectations have shifted. And the names everyone is talking about aren't the ones who've been grinding in silence. They're the ones pulling up from the logo, breaking ankles on the fast break, and posting 30-piece nights with national spotlight glare turned all the way up. Paige Bueckers, Caitlin Clark, they're not just here to compete. They're rewriting what Stardom looks like in this league. And the vets who thought they could bully that narrative into silence, they're running out of time. Because let's be honest, what happened to Marina Mabrey wasn't an accident, it was inevitable. You throw shots at the game's rising stars, eventually the game throws them right back at you. She played the villain, and now she's stuck in the story she helped write. What's worse, she's getting outplayed, outshined, and outclassed by players who don't even bother responding to the drama. They let their stats do the talking. Paige Bueckers? She didn't need a press conference to clap back. She just needed 40 minutes and a basketball. And in that time, she made one thing clear: you don't get to set the tone anymore just because you've been here longer. Experience doesn't outweigh impact, and right now, Marina Mabrey's impact is shrinking every time the buzzer sounds and her team's down double digits. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark keeps packing arenas. Paige keeps stacking wins. And both of them? They're doing something even more dangerous. They're shifting the culture. They're showing younger players, incoming rookies, international stars, that you don't need to dim your light to earn respect. You don't need to survive hazing rituals of hard fouls and cold shoulders just to be accepted. You just need to ball. And the league, whether it's ready or not, is starting to follow that energy. Because fans aren't here for the scowls and stare downs, they're here for highlights. They're here for rivalries with actual basketball weight, not petty sideline jabs or fake tough guy moments that never translate into wins. And here's the kicker: Marina Mabrey knows it. You can see it in her face during post-game, in her body language during the fourth quarter, in the way she stopped chirping and started second-guessing every shot. That confidence? It's not the same when the crowd's not on your side, when the media is not defending you, when the scoreboard is doing the shouting. That's what happens when karma isn't just personal, it's public. This isn't a feud anymore. It's an exposure, an unraveling. Because while Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark are rising, game after game, moment after moment, Marina Mabrey is watching her influence fade into the background. And you can't blame the fans. They didn't pick sides. The play did. They just followed the talent. The game has passed its verdict, loud and clear. And the verdict is this: the future isn't waiting for anyone to catch up, especially not the ones still playing defense on evolution. And now, Marina has a decision to make: stay bitter or get better. Because the league is done waiting. At the end of the day, this isn't just about Marina Mabrey or Paige Bueckers, or even Caitlin Clark individually. It's about the bigger shift we're watching unfold in real time. The changing of the guard, The arrival of a new generation that isn't here to ask for respect, it's here to take it. And no amount of shoulder bumps, flagrant fouls, or subtle digs in post-game interviews is going to stop that. Because the future of the WNBA isn't waiting anymore. It's here, and it's showing up with buzzer beaters, with record-breaking viewership, with sold-out crowds in cities that barely paid attention 2 seasons ago. What Marina Mabrey experienced. That wasn't just a bad night. That was a warning shot. A reminder that the game doesn't care about status, it cares about substance. And when Paige Buchers walked on that court and let her game speak, she did more in 40 minutes than any soundbite or Instagram post ever could. She exposed the gap, the skill gap, the maturity gap, the evolution gap. And now, all eyes are on what comes next. Will the vets adapt? Will the league protect its rising stars? Will the narrative stop being about how much attention these young players get and start being about why they've earned it? Because the truth is, Paige and Caitlin aren't the problem, they're the solution. They're the bridge between die-hard loyalists and a wave of new fans who just want to see greatness without the drama. And the moment the league embraces that, truly embraces it, is the moment the WNBA takes that next step into the global spotlight it's been chasing for years. Until then, the chaos will continue. And so will the highlights. Because these women aren't slowing down. They're not backing off. They're not playing small to keep anyone comfortable. They're showing up, every game, every night, with the lights at their brightest, and proving exactly why they belong. So if Marina Mabrey and players like her want to stay relevant in this new era, they better stop throwing shade and start throwing assists. Because the future isn't just watching. It's already here. And it's winning.